Hello everybody, welcome to Windows 8. This is a very brief discussion on a couple of the differences between Windows XP 7, Vista, and the new Windows 8. The main difference with Windows 8 is that it works in two different modes. The first mode that we're looking at right now is the start screen mode. It's designed to look like, feel like, and work like a tablet. If you're used to an iPad or an Amazon Kindle Fire or an Android or a smartphone, you're somewhat used to the apps. The Microsoft Windows 8 has apps that are called tiles. Kind of the same concept, but they use the term tiles. Down at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen is the desktop tile. If we go down there and we click on the desktop tile, that takes us to the second mode, which is the desktop mode. Now this is designed to look and feel just exactly like Windows 7. The only difference is there's no start button. That's probably been the number one gripe with the Windows 8, is the lack of the start button. Now most other devices don't have a start button, so it really shouldn't be too much of a surprise or too much of a shock. However, since it's been there since the onset of the first Microsoft product, I guess we get used to it being there, and it's not there, so we have to figure it out. So there's a few things that we would typically use that start button for. The first and most important thing is to shut the computer off. We used to click on the start button and go over to power or shut down or turn off, and we'd be able to shut the computer down or even reboot it, restart it. Well, it's not there anymore, so we have to figure out how to do it with Windows 8. It's very simple once you get the idea and get used to doing it. All you have to do is take your mouse and move it to the right corner of the screen. Now for the purposes of this demonstration and for ease, we're going to take the mouse and move it to the top right corner. As soon as we move the mouse all the way to the top right corner, the charm bar is going to appear. Now if we don't do anything, it's going to disappear in about 3 seconds. So what we have to do is move our mouse up to the corner, and as soon as that bar comes out, come down so that it stays in place, because we got to be able to hit one of these 5 buttons. Now for the purposes of shutting the computer off or restarting the computer, we're going to deal with the settings button. So all you have to do is go down and click on the settings button. Once we do that, the settings tab comes out, and we've got some options down at the bottom, one of which right in the middle is power. So we click on power, and we've got our typical sleep, shutdown, and restart options. So once again, we take our mouse, move it to the top right corner, come down to settings, click on settings, come down to power, click on power, and then you've got one of these 3 options. Okay, if you make a mistake and you don't want to do anything, just come over here and click, and that bar will go away. Okay, the next thing that we would usually use the start button for is to get to our files, our documents, our music, our photographs. We used to click on the start button and there'd be a button there for us to click on. Well, since the start button's not there, we need to make some adjustments. So what we typically do when we install a computer for a customer is we put a few icons on the screen that come in handy, since there is no start button. If you right click anywhere on the screen on the desktop, you get a little menu that comes up. At the bottom of the menu is a personalize button. Now many of you may already have this done on your computer, so this is just kind of a review. If you go up here to change desktop icons and click on it, that gives you the options of adding any of these icons automatically to your screen. So what we want is we want to make sure that computer is checked, user files is checked, and control panel is checked. Once we see that, we can hit OK, and then we can exit out of this personalization screen. Now that's just added 3 icons for me: computer, my name, and control panel. So why is that important? Well, we talked about clicking on the start button to get to our files. Well, now I'm going to double click the file that has my name or my username. So when I click on that, I get all of my personal files, favorites, downloads, documents, music, pictures, whatever I need. Okay? The next thing that we like to get to is the C drive or the flash drive that we just plugged in, or maybe we need to access something that's on a CD and the CD doesn't start up by itself. So we have to go to, or used to have to go to an icon called My Computer. We click on the start button and My Computer is sitting there. Well, now we've got an icon on our screen that says Computer. So if we double click on that, we see the C drive and the D drive and the F drive. Okay? The next thing that we typically click on the start button for is the control panel, so that we can change display options, work on the network adapter, various other little things that most people don't typically use, but it does come in handy, especially for dealing with printers. So now we have the control panel icon sitting here. We double click on it and we've got all of those options right at our fingertips. So we no longer need the start button because we know exactly how to get to all of the same places that the start button used to take us to. The only other thing that the start button got us was the list of all the programs on the computer. If we go back to the start screen by hitting that Windows key in the lower left hand corner of the keyboard right next to the control key, you'll see that we have our tiles again, our start screen. If we go anywhere on the screen where there's no tile and we right click, down in the lower right hand corner of the screen is a button that says All Apps. If we click on that, it'll show us all the apps that we have on the computer or programs. Okay? So that's really the big differences between Windows 8 and the previous editions of Windows. Now there's some other specific things like these individual apps that we're looking at, but we're not going to focus on that right now. We just wanted to point out the main key things that you need to know to get going with Windows 8. We appreciate you watching our video. Have a great time.